Good evening, everybody. And I am recording this video. So I'm not recording it in YouTube because I want you to be able to watch live closed captioning. So I need to turn that on right now. Okay, I just did. And what will happen if I record this video with live closed captioning, even without it, when the recording is over, you can get the transcript totally written of what the recording was about in case you don't understand something that I said, you want to go back and review it. You're the kind of learner that does better reading, and you may have audio problems as well. So yeah, this will be a good thing. And I am so sorry that it's taken me so long to get the rest of this course together. You have all been very patient, not that you really had an option, but I am putting in the rest of the semester in a few minutes, guaranteed. So we're in the unit where I am offering a buffet of items, a virtual literature feast. This is because we're in contemporary times. And there's not been a lot of voices from women in this course, in my opinion, and that is solely my opinion. And that is why I added Kate Chopin and The Awakening. And I started concentrating more on Daisy Miller. There's something known as the canon. And it's not the canon that you shoot a cannonball out of. It's the literature, the ultimate literature works, classic works, and traditional pieces of writing. And it's been highly white male. And you can't blame white men for this. So it just is the way society was for a long time. Women were discouraged from writing. It was considered a manly thing and out of their sphere. Their sphere was the home sphere, not the public sphere. They were to be at home, the domestic, the mother, the nurturer, the mother of children, subservient to the husband. And women who wrote were just kind of a little bit scandalous. I think it was Edith Wharton that would write from 8 a.m. to noon in her bedroom before she would come out of the room, so people did not know that she was writing. It was that scandalous. And today, even today, women, if they want their books to get a wider published range and demographic, they don't use female names. The Harry Potter series, J.K. Rowling purposely used the initials J.K. and Rowling because she was hoping that a demographic of younger males would pick up her book and read it and figure they all want to read a book on magic by a woman. So it's still kind of going on, kind of sad. I don't think it's that necessary anymore to disguise your name, though I did to myself when I wrote for a short horror fiction magazine. When I was a teenager, I used my middle name and last name, Lee Tatum, because I figured no one's going to know if that's a man or woman. And here I was in the era of Stephen King, and all men wrote for the magazine, and I thought, I can't be Myra. So, now I'm bold, and I will say my name, and you can sing the song, say my name right here. Anyways, so why I have called you here is we're going to look at Southern fiction, Southern Gothic literature, um, science fiction, dystopian literature, and magical realism in the last 4 weeks of this class. It'll go quickly. We're just getting a taste of everything. You're not going to have exams on these things because we only have 4 weeks. So I will get everything in there tonight and you can go through it. And it's not any lengthy pieces to read, but they're profound. They may be short sections to read, but they are profound in what they have to say. So Southern fiction has the unique elements of Southern U.S. culture, usually pre-1960, written by Southern authors or set in the South going back. And you will find after the Civil War, things went kafooey. For people in the South, they were not the economic masters that they were in the past. They were not at the top of the heap anymore. So their fiction deals with racism, Christianity, because it was the major religion there at the time, family values, community justice, social class, the observer, and macabre. Well, that comes in Southern Gothic. But there was the observer, and they sort of critique society, and this is where it gets really tough. Did Mark Twain and Flannery O'Connor mean to critique racists, or were they racist themselves by the use of the language, the terms, the way they described other people, using the N-word? Or were they just describing people of their time that fit in that category? Were they critiquing society, or were they a part of that? So that debate will continue forever. However, they did depict society as it was in the time. So Flannery O'Connor wrote Southern fiction. She lived much of her life in Milledgeville, in Georgia. And she had a major disability. Now we would say it's a challenge, but she had lupus. Her father died of lupus, and she got lupus, which was debilitating without much medication or any help for it during her time. And she was walking on crutches and losing use of her hands and arms, and was in a really bad physical place, but she kept writing until the end. And for her, the end was age 39. That may be old to very young people, but I have a daughter approaching that age right now, so it's young to me. She was born in 1925, lived to 1964, and the lupus had taken over her system by age 39. And she had to move back in with her family. And she lived in kind of a rural farm area. They had peacocks all over the place. She called them peafowl. And she thought they were kind of grotesque because of the way they screamed and screeched, and almost thought them as dirty animals sometimes, because they're beautiful to look at, but you don't have to clean up after them, and she did. Okay, so Southern Gothic takes its term really from British literature. Edgar Allan Poe was the king of the Gothic. Oh, I say that. But then Mary Shelley was pretty awesome too. And Bram Stoker with Dracula, Mary Shelley with Frankenstein. And that was the Gothic, the macabre, the scary decay of society, irony, darkness, paranormal, supernatural, grotesque things. And that all carried forward amazingly to 21st century, I believe. I don't know how old the series True Blood is. And it was based on Charlene Harris's Southern Gothic paranormal romance novels, which were not held in high regard, that are recent years. And she had, trying to remember the name of the character. I'll think of it about 3 a.m. and I'll sit up straight in the bed and say, yeah, her last name was Stackhouse. Anyways, if you watch the True Blood series, it was Gothic, and it had what I call a skewed moral compass. It critiques society. We had the vampires that were oppressed in their opinion, having to come out of their coffins and come out as being bloodsuckers and wanting equal rights and all of that. It was kind of a play on any oppressed people, whether it was race or gender. It showed up a lot in that series. So it was a critique of modern True Blood of all things. So it wasn't just about vampires. Other Southern Gothic writers besides Flannery O'Connor include Harper Lee, To Kill a Mockingbird. You may have read that already. It includes some of those things of checking your moral compass. Are you a good person or a bad person deep down? Racism, twisted kind of things, irony, darkness. And Flannery O'Connor was said that her fiction was Christ haunted. She was Catholic. She did not hesitate to question, why did my dad die of lupus at a young age? Why am I suffering from lupus? What does this mean? And so she's kind of a master of the grotesque things that, like a gargoyle, a hybrid of monsters and people. Oh. I should have had this ready. Bosch. Okay. Bosch was an artist, a Flemish artist, centuries ago. And he created all kinds of monstrous kind of things that were partially human, part monster. And here we have like a person with a bird head eating a body. He had some really dark stuff, and he was considered to be Christ haunted. And that's another lecture, which I will probably do. I was going to have you read Rise Blood, but I felt like, oh my gosh, the racism. It's really tough to handle today because it's vicious, it's brutal, which is how it was. It's hard for people, and I didn't want to throw that at you at the end of the semester. So our final book will be on magical realism, heroes and saints, and that's another lecture also, which I will also do tomorrow. So you will have all your lectures by tomorrow and everything in the course. I just wanted to get you started on Flannery O'Connor. A good man is hard to find. Please don't hate me when you read this. Um, Years ago, I taught The Handmaid's Tale, like 20 years ago. I'm serious. It was like my first freshman class. Students had nightmares. I had my own daughter read it, who was younger than my students, and she was like, "That's the worst thing I've ever read. I hate you, Mom. I hate you for making me read that." And she said, "But I don't hate you otherwise, but I'm so sorry I read this." And now The Handmaid's Tale is huge. Uh, who would have known? That's a dystopian society. And you also question people's moral compass. And that's what happened after the antebellum South. Everybody had manners. They were dressed pristine. They were in their places. Women had their place, of course. And the men dressed like, they called them dandies, with the top hats and the plastic white collars, so they would stay up straight. And they're walking canes and all that, and they're supposed to be so polite and everything. But if you lift up that layer of society, what lay below that was terrifying. The way the slaves were treated is horrifying. Somebody likened it to picking up a log and looking underneath and seeing all this squirming stuff and decay, which would represent the decay of society and how things were going down. So I just wanted to talk about Flannery O'Connor to get you started. A good man is hard to find. Be glad you don't have to read all of Wise Blood. You could read some of our other short stories. This is going long, so I will get this into the modules as soon as the school's up and do some more videos for the rest of the semester tomorrow. So people that want to work ahead, you can go. And I am sorry it took so long to do this, and I have a whole lecture on what the grotesque is. And I may type up some lecture notes for that instead of creating another video. So I am going to stop this recording, and thank you for your patience listening and staying in the course, and keep going.